Okay, thank you, and thank you for all the interesting presentations that I've listened to. If you would like to pronounce Skellefteå, you could say Skellefteå, which is one way of pronouncing our name. You could change the picture. Skellefteå is in the center of a very innovative region, as we could see in the first presentation. We're quite high on social innovation index and also on the innovation index that is done by EU. And we are in between two larger cities. We have about 72,000 inhabitants, so we are slightly larger than Åre and Hultsfred. And in the extended region, we have about 450,000 inhabitants. Back in 2014, we set a goal that we would grow, and we would grow from 72,000 inhabitants to 80,000 inhabitants, which in one way would not be a very big goal, but I will show you later that is, for us, it is quite a change. We did a citizen dialogue with over 1,000 inhabitants, which is one of the largest citizen dialogues in Sweden at the time, where we were making a strategic plan on how to grow. And we can see the results today, where Skellefteå is actually the city that has the most investments per capita in Sweden right now. We have a large battery plant, Northvolt F, which will be built or is being built in Skellefteå right now, and it will be producing lithium-ion batteries by 2024. And alongside this investment comes quite large investments also from the municipality. So we are there are investments of a total of 6 billion euros in this area, which is counting a bit low because we are also waiting for a train, Norrbotniabanan, that will be built also during the coming 10 years. So there are a lot of things happening. We have a good financial situation in Skellefteå. Our population is prognosed to grow with about 8 or 10,000 people, and we are planning to build 5,000 houses during the coming years. So what's the problem then? Well, we actually have a problem, and the problem is we have a very low unemployment rate. Where do you find another 3,000 people plus 1,000 people in suppliers and the extra competence needed in public and private sector when we have one of the lowest unemployment rates in Sweden, well under the national average, and it's still very low despite the COVID-19 crisis. Had a very innovative and strong industry already in need of competence before Northvolt was established and decided to be built in Skellefteå. And we have a regional specialization in mining, manufacturing, and construction in combination with a strong public sector. So it's very much the same type of competence that is needed by this battery factory. So you can change the picture. As you can see, our goal to reach 80,000 inhabitants is a bit tricky. We've had the same population size during the last 50 years, so we haven't grown that much. And this is due to an aging population. We have a population that is, the average age is well above the one in Sweden in general. We have quite a low education level. Just as Hultsfred said, we have a lot of young people moving to other cities for university education, although we have 2 universities in our city in the campus. And only 37% of people moving from Skellefteå move back. And 86% of the people moving to Skellefteå are from the northern region. And the northern region as a whole is also in a very expanding time. So all the businesses along the coastal region in the northern parts of Sweden are looking for competence. So our challenge is, how do you avoid stealing the competence from each other? And you can change the picture. What we can see is that immigration is one of the sources that we really need to look into. About 25% of the people moving to Skellefteå each year, last year it was 29%, are immigrants. And we have always, if we would only have the migration in Sweden, we would be decreasing our population. But thanks to immigration, we are actually growing a bit. Quite a long tradition of successfully integrating immigrants in Skellefteå. We have quite a low segregation in schools. We also have a low housing segregation, and when we are planning for the future 5,000 houses that will be built, they will not be built in one area. They will be 200 houses in one area and 300 houses in another area. So we are also planning for a society that is a mix of different housing possibilities. So both apartments and villas in sort of a big, well, trying to looking at also at the social context, and also related to the schools. We are investing quite a lot in schools as we speak. It's over a billion Swedish crowns that are invested in schools during the coming 10 years. So we see a great potential also for our private industry as well as the public sector in developing different measures on how to both attract and retain immigrants to Skellefteå. So you can change the slide. Relocate Skellefteå is then one project that we are aiming to develop. It is a project that has just received funding. It received funding from September, the 1st of September. It is a joint project with the region of Västerbotten, our county, but the regional organization, in collaboration with Skellefteå municipality, the Swedish Public Employment Agency, and Northvolt, which is this battery plant. And the aim of this project is to develop methods and new recruitment models that meet companies and organizations' needs for competence. And I know that we have been glancing at France also because I guess it's the health project that you described earlier that we have been glancing at. And we're looking at inclusive and open non-discriminatory selection and recruitment methods. And these will be done by the Swedish Public Employment Agency. So we will not look as much at the CV as looking at the skills and the competencies of this person. Because what we can see is that Northvolt, the battery plant, does not need engineers. It does not need the same type of university degree students that the rest of our industry needs. They need process operators, and they need different types of competence that don't need the same high level of education. And they are also looking a lot at suitability. So not only the experience from the work itself, because there are very few places in Europe where you have this type of knowledge of producing these types of batteries. This knowledge comes from Asia. So we will see a lot of immigrants coming from South Korea and Japan and China over the coming years, because that's where the competence is right now. So instead of recruiting people that already know this, we will look at shorter educational training periods, and we will also work together with other large cities in Sweden, together with Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö, to find the people that are suitable for this, but also not only suitable for the jobs, but also suitable for moving. because we know that we have a lot of stereotypes that we have to fight in the northern parts of Sweden. If we look at Sweden's view of the north of Sweden, it's not really innovative, and expanding business life would not be the first thing that you would mention about the north of Sweden. You would rather think that we have a lot of unemployment and people living on subsidiaries. So we need to both build an attractive region, and we've done so for the last 10 years. So we've come quite a bit on this path, but we need to do it in a more specific manner, targeted to this who are immigrants, and also people who are far from the job market. And we will also do education both in these cities and in Skellefteå. What we can see as the challenges in this, of course, is housing. We have a lack of housing already when we start. And we are a geographically very large municipality. So if you compare us, we are about the same size as Skåne, which might not really say much, but it's quite a large county in the southern parts of Sweden. But we really, so when you look at housing, we have to build housing not only in the central parts of Skellefteå, but also in the outer parts of the municipality. We can also see that we have challenges being a very trust-based society and a society of high social capital. We have very tight networks, and even if you don't come from another country, some people say it's a bit difficult to move to Skellefteå because people know each other and we have very tight networks. So we know that we have to work much more on this integration part, the social integration, which we also have been doing. As I mentioned, the attractiveness of Skellefteå and northern Sweden is something that we have to work with. Retention. We know that only 14% of immigrants who have come to Skellefteå and moved away come back. So we have to be more attentive to how to make them stay also after this program. And of course, we need to develop very new types of courses and programs quite quickly. This battery plant is planned to open in 2024, and the production will be done already in the end of 2021. So for a city that has had the same population in 50 years, growing by 3,000 people, and that's just jobs, and then up to 10,000 people is quite a strain on the society. And also, what is very important is meeting the needs of all employers, not just one employer that we are looking at right now. So we need a job market that is more diversified. And I think that I will stop here and say thank you.